conversation that get us stuck. Then once you are stuck, we're like, froze. What am I going to say next? Move on, right? Okay, cool. But I'm going to list down 3, okay, that sure kill. Okay, it's a sure kill. Okay. First is this. If you frame your conversation in a binary mode. Okay, you know what is binary, right? Obvious, okay. Yet, right, wrong, correct, incorrect. That's binary. It's either this or that. Okay. So if you frame your conversation with your friend in that way, it's a conversation cease. Okay. Example, I know one of the things that the Jiahui was telling me about. Let's equip us tonight how to share gospel to the LGBT communities, people. Something like this, right? Okay. So one of the sure way to kill them, or not say kill them, kill the conversation with them. Once they sense that there is a binary format that you're trying to talk to them, and especially in terms of right, wrong, as in moral, right, wrong, cut. All conversation cease. No matter what you BFF before, whatever, or you bribe him or her, with a good meal or whatever, everything just cut. Okay? Yes. Go ahead. Binary mode is yes, no, right, wrong. Just only 2 options. Only 2 options. Binary is 2 options. Okay? So on off. Right? There's no third option anymore, right? So if conversation is framed that way, sure kill. Because in binary mode, immediately they sense there's judgment. Yeah, we in that conversation, whatever they are going to put up, whatever story they're going to share that's so real in their life, or whatever experiences they have gone through is going to be judged. Then conversations. Okay? Second is this. Information overloads. Have you encountered friends who keep yakking and yakking and yakking? And he or she talked a lot about many other things. And you're wondering, where is it leading the whole conversation to? Have you ever encountered such conversation? And then ask yourself, when you're experiencing that in that conversation, what goes on in your mind? Was there a switch off? Was there like, later dinner eat what? Or like what Emmanuel said, the sky, the weather, change topic in your mind, right? So you realize that quite immediately when there's an information overload, when there's too much things that actually doesn't kind of matter anything to him or her, there's also a cut. Okay? What do you think is the third? This one, these two so far applies for all religion, all cultures, all ages, all races. Okay? So what do you think is the third one? One is don't get, usually why we are stuck, okay, is when they are telling their story, their narrative, and you got sucked into the black hole of their narrative. Have you encountered people like this also? Conversation? Okay, in my family, there's one family member that is really, really good in creating black holes. And after creating black holes, if you're not very aware, we will get sucked into that conversation and be led throughout. Then eventually, there's no breakthrough. There's no way to talk around with that family member. Then got us distracted and everything. So the conversation will also go for a dip. So this tree, right? I realized that These three, avoid. Once you sense that you have friends who are keep on ranting, telling about their sob stories, and although it's very real to them and go on from example to example and example, ask yourself, okay, are you going to go around with them? Okay, or are you going to have another angle in, which later we'll discover. But the key thing is don't get sucked. Okay, and don't whatever is the conversation, try in your mind, whatever is your response to that conversation, try not to go in a binary mode. Yes, no, correct, incorrect, and so on and so forth. Okay, in listening to our friends. Now, every time when we talk about listening, what are we listening for? What are we listening to? Is it to all their narrative, every encounter that they kind of rent it out to you, and then you pick data from there? Or is it something else? So today, right, I'm going to present to you something that I don't think you can find in textbooks. Neither a tool that you just use for a specific group of people. And I quite believe, okay, that what I'm going to share tonight is something that nobody will ever tell you. Let's go. Thank you. All right. Okay. So later we go for practice. This one, keep it in mind first. The three do nots, because these are all conversation killers. Okay. Now we go for three gaps. When we listen to a conversation, basically there are three things I'm suggesting we look out for. Okay, already, right? But when we are into a conversation or someone is inviting us into the conversation, are you sensing energy, strength? Okay, and you know what's my second question that I look out for? The second gap. Where if I'm looking for where's the strength, the other one that I'm looking for is, come, ladies and gentlemen, you're surely very, very brilliant. Where is the strength and exactly where's the weakness? Sorry? Let's go, okay? And the third one, after knowing the strength and the weakness, surely we must, after doing our discovery work, we must do something, right? So, okay. The third question is, then what is needed? Okay, in any conversation. So in gospel sharing, it's also the same. Now, when that group of Pharisees pull that adulterous woman, go right in front of Jesus and says, this is what she has committed. And according, they very fantastic. Huh? According to the law of Moses, she is to be stoned. Now, come on. If Jesus Christ, like us, if we are just hearing only on the surface level of that whole accusation or that whole conversation, likely we'll walk into the trap. We know it's a trap because as a third party, now we are reading that narrative, we know it's a trap set up for Jesus. But Jesus at that point, you realize that he hears beyond the accusation. Right? Because like, then Jesus, what do you think we should do now? Okay, so where is the strength? Do you think that okay, I'm not so sure how the Pharisee will say it. Is it accusation, or is it like wow, full of passion about the law and everything? But something very simple. What did Jesus Christ say? Do you all know the narrative? Am I talking to people who knows this narrative? You all know, right? What is Jesus' reply? Anyone? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he squat down and then scribbled something on the sand, right? Yeah. Then after that, he said his reply, his verbal reply. What is his verbal reply? If anyone doesn't have any sin, what? Yes. Pick up the first stone and strike her. Okay? So you see, he hears what is the strength, what is the weakness, and what is needed, what is to be needed. Always have two goalposts, a guiding post, okay? Okay, Human beings are basically driven by these two P's. Regardless, again, race, language, religion, culture, ages, era, whatever. You know what are the two P's? Yes, thank you. Pleasure. Say the yes, passion. Passion is the driving force, but the end goal is yummy, right? Pleasure. Wow, to my taste bud, yum. Yes. Okay.